All right, chat. Vertical video? Vertical video? For who? For me, nigga. I feel like I'm not supposed to cuss for like damn, these potholes are insane. I feel like I'm not supposed to cuss for like the first minute or something. But you gotta let the kids know it's real, you feel me? Yo, so vertical video because I'm driving to try to see if I can find somewhere to chill. I ain't gonna lie, I've been posting every day for a minute, boy. It's been like 3 days. Something that's kind of been on my mind specifically today more than any other day. Recently, I've been sort of thinking about feelings. It has something to do with feelings. It has something to do with the opening of emotion. It's a little bit tricky to live with like an entirely open heart. I realize that I know that I'm the most charming and attractive when I'm feeling, you know what I'm saying, when I'm as feeling and magnetic as possible, but it's a tricky thing to maintain for a few reasons. Number one, and I would say maybe the one that scares a lot of people the most, would be public perception. If you sort of live with your heart on your sleeve in a way where you might act a lot more closely to the way that you do when you're like in your room by yourself, you know what I'm saying, when nobody's watching and you're just like carefree and impulsive and kind of silly. Anytime that I'm, you know what I'm saying, spontaneous and energetic like that, I realize that I'm the most attractive to people than pretty much any other time, except in bed. But I would say the first concern that people might have when considering something like this is public perception, because you might look, especially where I come from, you might look weaker for behaving like that, behaving spontaneously and in a way where, you know what I'm saying, you're kind of joking around and you're being sort of like silly and everything. Although I would sort of counter that by saying that if you do it properly, then you wearing your heart on your sleeve also means like confronting if necessary. It also means expressing what you think. It means all of that, and so that would automatically correct itself as long as you're not being a pussy about it. The next issue that I would say, and one that is more interesting to me personally, is this issue of receptivity. When you have your heart on your sleeve, that's an interesting path. When you have your heart on your sleeve, when you live much more spontaneously and with an open heart such that it shows in your character, it shows in your eyes, it shows in your mannerisms, and the way that you play as you live, you also are much more susceptible to negative emotion, to the influence of negative emotion. In the same way that you feel joy much more powerfully, you might feel much more quickly angered. That's what I noticed today, is like the more that I sort of sit in my emotion and I let that breathe and everything, the quicker I get irritated and annoyed, and these sort of emotions that usually I have very much under control now become a lot trickier to control. So that's something that I found interesting, that I had experienced before, but as I try to live into a more free and holistic and better aligned, as I try to align my being in the most effective way possible, this is an issue that seems to have circled back around. I'm not really sure what to think about it yet, because it's a new thing. It's a new thing that I'm playing with, but it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I like it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. And what? So these are the two things that I think people, and me personally, you know what I'm saying, these are the two things that immediately come to mind of reasons why people might not want to do something like this, or at least feel hesitant to. I think the benefits are kind of obvious. You are more attractive, you are more magnetic, you are more impulsive, ultimately you are more yourself, and you also are a more aligned being because you've activated your feeling center as much as you might have your thinking center activated. You can align that with your willing as well. You become really like that. So that's definitely been fascinating. And as far as, like I said, the social aspect of it, like, don't be a bitch, and that'll pretty much resolve itself if you're not a bitch. But as far as the emotional side of that, as far as being more receptive to negative emotions, that really takes, I think, a combination of skill and what? it's like you need to be much better at transmutating, transforming, all of that. The emotions that come up in the moment into other things. You need to be able to transform like anger into humor and like annoyance or irritation into, you know what I'm saying, spontaneous. You need to be able to dissipate these things in the moment, which takes a much higher level of skill and control over yourself. So that's definitely fascinating. That's an exciting thing to work on, because it's, you know, it's sort of like you develop these things and then you find a new way forward, and in that new way forward comes new things that you can master. And so it seems that this line down the skill tree has now branched off into these other skills that I'm having to learn in real time. But man, I welcome them because that is so exciting. So exciting. I love when you get on top and you ride it. That wasn't that, yo. Keep that between me and you. Keep that between me and you. Anyway, so that's been something that I thought was cool. It's definitely been something that I thought was cool. Hey, did you think that was cool? I thought that was cool. Same time next week. Hey. Same time next week.